the wall of the input voltage is appear across it, as there is a no voltage across the RL. During the negative half cycle, we are not getting any output across the load resistor, hence whatever voltage you are applying will be obtained at the input of the diode, and it is not allowing to pass from the, you can say, positive to the negative. So peak inverse voltage is nothing but when input reaches its peak value, Vm sin omega t is our input voltage, and Vm is the peak voltage. In the negative half cycle, voltage across the diode is also maximum. This maximum voltage is known as the PIV, you can say peak inverse voltage. So peak inverse voltage is nothing but the maximum voltage the diode must withstand during the negative half cycle of the input voltage. So PIV for the half wave rectifier is a Vm. You can say Vm is the maximum voltage what we are applying at the input of the diode. Now comes the full wave rectifier. Full wave rectifier can design with the help of two different configurations. One is a center tap type of full wave rectifier, another is the bridge rectifier. One can use any configuration. Both techniques are having their own advantages and disadvantages. If one wishes to use the center tap type of rectifier, there is a special kind of transformer is used. Basically what we have studied, transformer is having primary winding and the secondary winding. So primary is having two, you can say, wires. Now in a center tap type of rectifier, your secondary is having three wires out at the secondary side. So a center tap rectifier uses a special kind of transformer whose secondary is tapped at the center and the load resistance is connected with it. So there are two diodes are used if it is a center tap type of rectifier. When the current flows through the load resistance, the output voltage V0 is developed across the load resistor. So this one is the pictorial presentation of the center tap type of full wave rectifier. Now as I told you, there are two diodes are used. Primary is a normal. Now you try to see the secondary, where from the secondary at the center there one wire is taken out, and that wire considered as a, you can say reference wire. Now at the upper part of the secondary there is a diode D1 is connected, one can say, and at the lower half there is a diode, you can say name can be given is a D2 is connected and the load is connected. Now what happens if you try to see, one can compare the half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. In half wave rectifier, what was the problem? During the positive half cycle, diode gets conducted. During the negative half cycle, we are not getting any output. You can say pi to 2 pi. Now here you try to see from pi to 2 pi you are getting the pulse, I mean the peak. Then you can say 2 pi to 3 pi we are getting in half wave, here also we are getting. But from as you move ahead, we were not getting in that half wave rectifier, we are getting over here. So during the positive half cycle of the AC input, diode D1 is conducted and D2 is reverse biased. Hence a load current IL flows in upper half of the secondary circuit through diode D1 and the load resistor RL, which produces an output voltage V0 across the load. So this one is the center tap type of configuration, where as I told you D1 gets conducted because it is getting the positive pulse, and your D2 is not conducting because if you try to see at the bottom side, negative pulse is applied to the your diode. However, there is a no current in the lower half of the secondary circuit as D2 is reverse biased. So here is a picture is shown where the diode is connected, D1 is in forward bias and D2 is reverse bias. You can say only one positive pulse is obtained. So during negative half cycle of the input SC, you can say diode D1 is reverse bias, and hence there is a no current through the upper half of the circuit to the secondary. So now you try to see the diode D1 is in conducting mode, in open mode, and D2 is conducting during the negative half cycle. So diode D2 is forward bias and the load current IL flows through the load, and which produces the output voltage V0 across the RL. So during the negative half cycle, you can say your D2 is conducting and you are getting the second pulse, you can say this one. So a current flows through the load during both the half cycles of the input AC in a same direction. Hence voltage V0 is developed across the load during the complete cycle of the input AC. So as we have studied the peak inverse voltage in half wave rectifier, let me try to see the word in a full wave rectifier. Peak inverse voltage is the maximum voltage, as I told you, that appears across reverse bias PN junction diode in a rectifier. As shown in above figure, D1 is forward bias and D2 is reverse bias. Peak inverse voltage, the secondary of the transformer supplies VM voltage in both the halves, upper half and the lower half. Therefore PIV is nothing but 2 Vm, is a 2 Vm. Now as I told you, there are two configurations present with a full wave rectifier. One is the center tap type of configuration, another is the, you can say, bridge configuration. In a center tap type of transformer, configuration, we are using the center tap transformer and two diodes. Here in a bridge configuration, we are using a normal transformer where no tapping is carried out, but in place of two diodes we are using four diodes. You can say diode D1, D2, D3 and D4. So this one is the primary voltage what we are applying is our AC mains, and this one is the voltage after the rectification. So we are connecting the power means 220 volt 50 hertz D1, D2, D3 and D4, and RL is connected diagonally between the, you can say, two elements, two, you can say, node. Now the bridge rectifier consists of 4 PN junction diodes connected in a 4 arms of a Wheatstone bridge. The load resistor RL is connected across the diagonal of the bridge. During the positive half cycle, diode D1 and D3 are reverse biased, D2 and D4 are in forward bias. There will be a current IL flowing through RL, giving rise to the output voltage V0 across it. You try to see here D1 and D3 are not conducting. You can say our supply is passing through D2, through load resistor, through D4, and circuit gets completed. So this one is the configuration where two diodes D2 and D4 are conducting and D1 and D3 are not connecting. This one is the, you can say, configuration when diode, you can say, our AC mains is applied in a positive configuration mode. During the negative half cycle of the AC, D2 and D4 are reverse bias, D1 and D3 are conducting. So again there will be current IL flowing through the RL, giving rise to the output voltage V0 across it. You try to see in our first picture where D2 and D4 were conducting. Now you try to see this one is the positive, you can say, negative pulse we are applying now. So positive is applied like this, D3 is conducting, load resistor and D1, and circuit gets completed. So during this half, D1 and D3 are connected, D2 and D4 are not connected, and output is obtained like this. First of all, D2 and D4, due to D2 and D4 we are getting this pulse. During the negative half of the input voltage, D1 and D3 are conducting and we are getting this one, and so on. You can say D2 and D4. Now if you are getting more pulses, then here is a D1 and D3. So as shown in the figure, current flows during both the half cycles in the output. During one half cycles, diode D2 and D4, another half cycle D1 and D3 are conducting. So current flows in same direction during both the half cycles through the RL. So the output current and voltage are, you can say, unidirectional. Now here is the question. One is picking bridge rectifier as a most suitable, you can say, rectifying circuit. So what are the reasons? Let me try to see. Bridge rectifier does not require transformer having a center tapping. If you try to see center tap type of transformer, transformer secondary has been tapped. Here no center tap type of special transformer required. Such transformers are cheaper, you can say, where tapping is not. So bridge rectifier is not required the tapping. So the cost of the bridge rectifier is, you can say, somewhat, you can say, not cheaper. Center tap type of transformer is having the tapping type of transformer, hence the cost is more. The PIV of the diode used in center tap rectifier is 2 Vm, whereas the case of the bridge rectifier it is only Vm. Such diodes are, you can say, cheap. Again, diodes are cheaper. However, the disadvantage of the bridge rectifier is that it requires 4 diodes, where center tap rectifier requires only 2 diodes. Bridge rectifier cannot work properly in low voltage applications because the voltage drops across the two forward bias diodes becomes almost 1.4 volt in case of silicon diodes, and hence we may not get the sufficient voltage at the output. Half wave rectifier, only positive half cycles are utilized for the DC output, but full wave rectifier utilizes both the half cycles. Here is the comparison between the half wave and full wave. Therefore, the DC voltage available in the full wave rectifier will be doubled in DC voltage available in the half wave rectifier, VDC equal to 2 Vm by pi. Now, how effectively a rectifier converts AC power into DC power is described by the terms, you can say, ripple factor, and you can say another term, you can say rectification efficiency. Now let me try to see first of all the ripple factor is a measure of purity of the DC output of a rectifier. It is nothing but the ratio of RMS value of the component of a wave to the average, or you can say DC value. Rectification efficiency tells us what percentage of total input AC power is converted into the DC useful power. It is a ratio of DC power delivered to the load to the AC input power from the transformer secondary. Now, how to get a better DC? The output of rectifier is a mixture of AC and DC. As I told you, rectifier is not converting 100% AC into DC. Thus, it is not a pure DC, but it is a pulsating DC which contains unwanted AC components superimposed with the DC components. So, in order to remove those unwanted AC components from the output of a rectifier and smooth it out, filter circuits are extensively used. There are, as I listed earlier, capacitor, inductor, LC and pipe filters are used. Now here I like to explain that why these components, you can say inductor and capacitor, are used as a rectifier, I mean as a filter. So if you try to see inductor, capacitor and resistor, these are the electronic components which are used in electronic circuit. Resistor gives you resistance. Inductor itself is an electronic component. It is also having certain resistance. As well, capacitor is an electronic component. It may have some resistance. Now, the resistance of the resistor does not depend upon the frequency. Resistance of the inductor and the resistance of the capacitance depends on the frequency. The resistance, you can say, of the resistance of the inductor is termed as the inductive reactance, is XL. The formula of the XL is 2 pi FL. Now you try to see your inductive reactance is proportional to the frequency. As the frequency increases, resistance increases. Our objective is to minimize, our objective is not to pass the frequency component from, you can say, rectifier output to the load. So if you connect an inductor in a series from the output side of the rectifier, then if there is any AC component present from the rectifier output, then that AC component will not pass from the inductor, because inductor property is that inductor will not allow any AC component to pass, will create high resistance for the AC and almost zero resistance for the DC, because if the frequency is 0, the formula of the XL equal to 2 pi FL, if you put F equal to 0 is a DC. If you put 0 in place of F, XL becomes 0, inductive reactance becomes 0. So this is the reason why inductor is used as a filter in an electronic circuit. Now you try to see the capacitor. Capacitor is again having the certain resistance. The resistance of the capacitance is again depends upon the frequency. So formula of the capacitor, I mean the capacitive reactance, is XC equal to 1 upon 2 pi FC. Now if you try to see the formula, XC is equal to 1 upon 2 pi FC. So capacitive reactance is inversely proportional to the frequency. So as the frequency increases, reactance decreases. So if one connect the capacitor in a parallel to the, you can say, rectifier output, then if there is an AC component, then capacitor bypasses all the AC components and will not allow any AC component to pass, because if you put in a formula of the XC equal to 1 upon 2 pi FC, so F is 0, then XC becomes infinite. So capacitor is not allowing any DC component to pass, and hence here one can say, so capacitor is the bypassing all the AC components, whereas DC components are not passing through the capacitor. These are the two, you can say, basic principles behind the filter. Now the shunt capacitor filter, let me try to see again in detail. So capacitor offers low reactance path to AC components and at the same time blocks DC component, as I told. So here, as I told you, capacitor is connected in a shunt form. Why? Because the XC equal to 1 upon 2 pi FC, if frequency is higher, then that frequency component can be easily passed like this. And for the frequency component, you can say reactance becomes almost low. If it is a DC component, then the reactance becomes high, and that's why those DC components are not allowed to pass from this capacitor and they are passing towards the load. Now the series inductor filter. An inductor, the property of the inductor is to oppose any change in the value of the current flowing through it. This property of inductor used to filter out the AC components present in the output of a rectifier. Series inductor filter offers high reactance to the higher frequency. As I told you, XL is 2 pi fc. So higher harmonic ripples are filtered out more effectively. So inductor filter is connected in series with the output of the rectifier. XL equal to 2 pi FL. For the you can say AC component, reactance will be higher, and for the DC component, reactance will be 0, almost 0. Then comes the better filter, LC filter, where the pair of inductor and capacitor is used. It consists of series inductor and a shunt capacitor with respect to the load. Inductor allows DC component to pass, and capacitor allows, you can say, blocks the DC component and allows the AC component to pass through it. So is a LC filter. So initially what happens, inductor is not allowing any AC component, but still if you try to see, a very less amount of AC components still remain and are passing through the inductor, then that capacitor will block all whatever ACs were there from the output of the inductor. Block means it is passing, will not allow towards the load resistor. And the best configuration for the filter is a pi filter. In this type of filter, an additional capacitor is used in addition to the LC filter. A pi filter is called the so because its shape is like a Greek letter pi. This one is the configuration of the pi filter. Now let me see certain, you can say, derivations related to the, you can say, rectifier. If we try to see on a teletop. So the output DC voltage what we are getting in a, you can say, rectifier is listed like this. So in a half wave rectifier we are getting the output from 0 to pi, not getting from pi to 2 pi, again we are getting from 2 pi to 3 pi. This is the axis of the omega t. Omega t is nothing but the angular frequency, omega is angular frequency, t is the time, and this one is the axis of the load current which is flowing through the, you can say, rectifier and from the load. So Im is the peak voltage, I mean the peak current. IDC is the average DC current what we are getting. Here is a waveform of current flowing through the RL, you can say load resistor, in a half wave rectifier. So IL basically is a sinusoidal, you can say, current. Im equal to sin omega t. We are getting IL during the positive half cycle only. So it is 0 to pi only. From pi to 2 pi we are not getting any current.